What is the good word? Welcome to the Higher Call, the Christian Sportsman podcast. I'm your host, Dan Satterfield. God is good all the time, my friends. Go Lake Nona Lions, go Seas, go Bees, go Pats, go Sox, and go Cougs. Throwing it over the wall to my co-host, Sonny. How are you doing today, Sonny?
What's up, Dan? I'm doing good.
Awesome. And welcome to the Higher Call, where the podcast where faith and fandom meet. Please hit the subscribe and or like button on whatever platform you're listening to. Leave us a comment and review also. And you can hit us up on our email, highercallpod@gmail.com, just like the podcast name, highercallpod@gmail.com. So, Sonny, today my work had a talent show. which we don't do all the time. Can you think of a talent that you would have that you would share if your work all of a sudden had a talent show one day?
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one. Maybe juggling.
Oh, nice. So can you do like 3 balls, 4 balls?
I can do 3 balls really well and 4 balls semi well.
See, that's the kind of thing, like you're at a party and it's just like, hey, I can juggle, so that's available. Just so you guys know that. That's a good one right there. So one of my good friends at work, he's also my neighbor. Shout out to Marcos, he'll listen to this. But he's a wildlife photographer, and to the point where like he's actually been featured on National Geographic and some of the other big photography websites. And so he's also a very good karaoke singer. And so he did this like multi-sensory thing where he sang karaoke, and he and in the background while he was singing, so while we're enjoying his karaoke singing, he had a slideshow of his wildlife photographs. So it was like this multi-sensory thing. Like it was really cool. They have that immersive art kind of stuff. So I was digging it.
Yeah, that's too much talent for one person. I feel like he should only get one of those.
Yeah, and so our arts and media at church, our arts and media folks are actually having another open mic night. I really want him to come to that, and I'm trying to get him out there. So Marcos, you're coming, man, because I think everyone needs to experience this. And the song was "Born to Be Wild."
Nice.
I'm like, oh yeah. So you can tell, as much as you know me, you can tell why he's my friend. But yeah. All right. So I'm excited about this episode. Let's go through the agenda a little bit. We're gonna talk to Sonny and get to know him a little bit, and then we're gonna go into our spiritual topic, which is remembering. And Sonny and I have a lot of memories from our time together. And then the AFC North preview. So Sonny is a Cleveland Browns fan, so we'll be previewing the AFC North, like our other divisional episodes. We will then be going through the AFC North win totals, and we will be going through the AFC North schedule. So that is what we'll be doing this episode. It's going to be great. Sonny, why don't you tell us a little bit? It's funny, we've lived in like the same places at different times. We were in Boston together for a little bit, but tell us a little bit about your time in the ministry and kind of the travels that you've been on.
Yeah, I became a Christian when I was in the United States Navy in Boston. That's where I ran across Dan and his family when I was in youth, leading in youth ministry up there. And then the Lord took me to Louisville, Kentucky, and I served in kind of an associate minister role for a couple of years there. And then my wife and I moved to Lexington in 2001, and we planted the church in Lexington and led that for about 7 years. And then spent 9 years leading the church in Cleveland, Ohio, where I became a Browns fan. And so I feel like because Kentucky doesn't have pro sports, every city I went in, I kind of adopted a sports team. My time in Boston, I adopted the Red Sox.
Let's go.
And then my time in Cleveland, I became a pretty diehard Browns fan. And then from Cleveland, we spent about 7 years in Denver, leading a part of a larger church there, a region there. And then we've been back in Lexington the last 3 years. So yeah, it's been a crazy adventure, but lots of fun, and God just has done great things everywhere we've been. So it's been new friends and family and things like that. So it's been great.
That's awesome. And yeah, you already know this, but yeah, we were in Denver. We lived in Denver twice, and while you did the youth and family there in Denver, some of the teens you led were teens of some of our very very good friends. Several couples there, and they just had the greatest things to say about you, and I certainly wasn't surprised. And then being in Lexington, we lived in Lexington for 3 years. Not too soon after we left, you guys came in. So it's funny. Maybe we'll get to live in the same place again. But at one point, very young, when I was a child, we shared a naval air station in, in
Indeed.
in in Weymouth that is now closed. And so I'm actually on a Facebook page, and once in a while they'll throw up old pictures and things. And I remember the Shea Gymnasium there, and
Yes,
we spent a lot of time playing
a lot of time in
basketball.
that gym.
So yeah, it was great memories there, and just such a great time. So yeah, it's great to hear about your life and what you've been up to. So who's your favorite Cleveland Browns player? Can you think of one?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, like all-time player is probably Jim Brown, but I have
Okay.
just, but that I got to watch tape of him, but I never got to see him play. But probably my favorite of the last like 25 years is Nick Chubb.
Okay. Nick Chubb. Oh yeah, yeah, good running back. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I've had him. I played fantasy, so I've had him a couple of times on fantasy. He was an underrated fantasy player for a couple of years there. So yeah, absolutely. I know we mentioned basketball already, but what are some sports memories you think of? Not it doesn't have to be the Cleveland Browns, but in your life, what are some big games and sports memories that you'll never forget?
Oh, I mean, I'm a big UK fan. Grew up in
Yeah.
Kentucky, so like overall sports. The heartbreak was obviously Leitner shot. I literally watched that live as a Kentucky fan and cried like a baby when he hit that shot. Um, but yeah, I loved those 96, 97, 98 championship runs. 96 with Patino. 98, Tubby Smith won it. The 2016 championship with Kentucky with Anthony Davis and Michael Kidd Gilchrist
Yep.
and those
Yeah.
guys. So love big things. I actually love beating the Steelers in the playoffs in 2020.
Okay.
Anytime I can beat the Steelers as a Browns fan, that just feels like everything is right with the world. So that's a big one. Yeah, there's been quite a few, um, but yeah, those are probably some of my favorites.
Yeah, and I actually haven't spoken about it much on the podcast, but I grew up a Kentucky fan also. Before I actually went to college, which wasn't Kentucky, but as a kid, my entire family who had college degrees all graduated from the University of Kentucky. And so about 6 or 7 family members there. And so yeah, growing up, totally a Kentucky fan. We lived on the Naval Air Station when the night of Leitner, and that's probably one of the most formative nights of me becoming a sports fan. Really, when I really started liking, watching sports and following sports. That game, I mean, when the 30 for 30, I hate Christian Leitner came out.
Oh
I
yeah,
was just, I was just like, and so I remember watching it with my family and and just running into my room and just bawling my eyes out.
that
and
was
uh,
such a hard game. If
and
you were
uh,
if you were a UK fan.
and then a guy in the Boston church named Jim, I think you might know him. He graduated from Duke, and he called my dad um, to say like, and I think he was just calling to say like, oh, good game and all that. And Dad's like, yeah, I think he's like, we're fine. I think someone's having a hard time over here. And I turn around and I start screaming at Jim over the phone. Who was like nice enough to like call and say good game. And I mean, it's easy to be classy when you win, but I'm like, oh, go away, Jim. I hate Duke. They cheated.
Oh yeah, I felt the very same way. I mean, t- I still think Leitner she got kicked out for stomping on Andre Riddick's
Oh
chest. That's just
yes,
a
that's
personal
right.
opinion.
Yeah.
But again, the the game was incredible. It's like one of the all-time greatest games ever.
Yes.
I
Yes.
just
It is.
hated losing to Duke
Yeah.
that
Yep.
year.
Yep.
I really felt like that was going to be the year.
Yeah.
that we got our championship after
Yeah.
years of waiting. So, but we went 3 years in a row, 96, 97, 98, and those were fun years.
Yeah.
Uh, all 3 years were special. So,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I was in high school for those years. We had moved to Rhode Island, and yeah, I remember watching those, and yeah, really great teams. What are some ways that you've seen God and sports intersect in your life?
I feel like God always used sports to teach me valuable lessons. I think over the years, um, I grew up playing basketball, so I played a lot of basketball just throughout my life. I just think there was a lot of after I became a Christian. I just think there's a lot of things I learned about what's most important, and in my early years, and even my early years as a Christian, winning was the most important thing, and I think I learned to value the relationships and the camaraderie and the team and my teammates, and just the dynamic of building relationships in sports, even if you're playing against somebody. So I think sports has taught me a lot about competitiveness and things like that, but also a lot about humility and what's most important. So yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I really like what you said about camaraderie and whether it's cheering or playing with fellow people, and then also about competitiveness and how to be classy, and like I was not with Jim. So yeah, I think I've learned a thing or two as I've grown up. So yeah, I do. The Houston Cougars are my team now, and every year they get knocked out of the tournament because they've never won the championship, but they get close. And so every year I just tell the kids, it's like, you know what, like we don't follow the Cougs just because like they're going to win the championship. We follow them because we appreciate the journey, and we appreciate the players, appreciate the school, and so and when it's over, it's over, and we say okay. So I do better some years than others, but yeah, definitely try to keep things
Maybe
in
you should come
perspective
to
there.
Lexington and have a conversation with our fans, because I don't think any Kentucky fan would ever say any of that. It's a championship or bust here. Uh,
Yes,
no
yeah.
matter what. That's why Calipari's not here anymore. Uh, doesn't matter how far you go or how high your recruiting classes are ranked. If you do not win a ship or get close, there's not multiple Final Fours. It is not a happy place in Lexington.
Yeah, I know. Yes, and the year they went undefeated for a long time, they lost to Wisconsin, so it's pretty recent. So maybe about, let's see, my son, yeah, so probably about, because he's 10, I think maybe like 9 or 10 years ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
The Harrison twins,
yeah,
and yeah, and so this guy, so on 850 AM radio, this guy would call in, and it was like a shtick. He wasn't real, but like he would call in and go 40, 40, because if they had won all their tournament games and all that, then they would have won 40 games and lost zero. So so I will always remember that year, because every year he would call in and say that every time they won a game. It was so funny.
yeah. Those guys, Aaron and Andrew, hit so many crazy shots at the end of games that year to
Yeah,
win games. It was unbelievable, both in the regular season and in the tournament.
yeah,
It was pretty crazy.
yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to pause here before we go into our spiritual topic, and we're going to do our sponsor read. We'd like to thank All Too Traveled, one of our sponsors. If you're dreaming about your next getaway, don't forget to follow All Too Traveled on TikTok. Destinations and practical travel tips. It's a great way for anyone with a little blank space. That's All Too Traveled on TikTok, short travel videos. And then we'd also like to thank our other sponsor, the Father Figure Framework. If you're over 40 and running on fumes, check out Bill Ellis and the Father Figure Framework. Simple, faith grounded habits for strength, energy, and leadership at home. Learn more at billellis.coach. That's BILLELLIS.coach. And so we're going into our spiritual topic. And our theme scripture for this week is Psalm 77, verse 11, and it says, "I will remember the deeds of the Lord." And so, Sonny, I was thinking about our conversation. I have a teen camp story that I think you'll like from our time up in Camp Laurel in Maine, when I was a teenager and you were a teen leader. And it was it was what they used to call midnight basketball.
Hmm.
It was my senior year, and and so um, we were playing in it was either semifinals or the finals, and it was like this big game, and Al was the referee, of course, and we all like start warming up or whatever, and I think Al wanted to start like right on time because it was the end of the day, everybody was tired, and so Al like was bringing people together. It's like, okay, we're gonna do the tip off, and uh and then you get the team together and you're like, okay, we're gonna do this cheer, and it was like, tell me who's in the house tonight, the South. We were the South region. Tell me who's in the house tonight, the South. And you had like three parts to this cheer that you wanted us all to do, and Al was just looking at you like, and we start looking out of the huddle like we're like, we need to go, like, and Al just throws the ball up like to tip off the game, and we're still doing our cheer. So obviously the team we were playing won the tip off, and they like went and scored, and we're like, oh well, that didn't turn out well. And I think we didn't win the chip that year. I think we might have lost that one, but that was so funny. You know, that's one of the stories I'll always. Do you remember that?
I actually don't remember that. I remember that year Phil Arsenal just coming down and shooting from half court. It felt like every time when their team played. That's my vague memories from that camp.
Yeah, yeah. And then the Boston had a great basketball league.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So you were on what? There were two South teams one year, I think, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and then we were on the Rhode Island team, and there was like some gym that like, I don't know where you guys found that place. It's up in your neck of the woods, and it was like these like those portable basketball rooms that like go. It was like a cage. It was really interesting. But yeah, any memories from the church basketball league you can think of?
Oh my gosh, just how competitive it was. Like, I used to think I was pretty good at basketball, and then I got in the church league, and I was like, maybe I'm not that good at basketball, because we had quite a few ballers back in the day. Um, I forget the guy's name. I'm just completely blanking, but he actually, I think one of the guys that played in that league that year he had played for Patino at Providence.
Oh, it
Uh,
wasn't AJ, was it?
no, it wasn't
AJ
AJ
Hoff?
Hoff.
No. Oh, okay.
It was another guy. He's like 6'10", but like it was like there was some legit D1 talent type of guys in that league, and
Yeah.
I just remember being very. When I came into the league, I thought I'm going to be really good, and then by the time I left the league, I thought, these guys are really good. Like I am not. I thought I'd be one of the better players, but that was delusional. Once I got playing, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, I was a teenager, and so I was lucky if I played at all. So, but it was so fun. It was so fun, and they let me keep score sometimes too. I was one of the scorekeepers. But yeah, awesome. Well, I was going to ask you this question: why is remembering God's faithfulness important when life gets difficult?
It's interesting. We've been actually talking about this as a church a little bit over the last few weeks. We just celebrated the 25th anniversary of the Lexington Church,
Yeah,
and so we've spent like the last couple of months remembering God's faithfulness, and we've talked a lot about the spiritual discipline of remembering. And I just think it's so easy to get caught up in what we're experiencing and feeling now. I know it is for me, but to remember God's faithfulness is, I think, one of the big keys and one of the spiritual disciplines we can use to stay faithful in hard times. And so for me, I think it's been such a key for me to just remember what God has done, remember the miracles of long ago, to really think about how God has come through in the past, even in difficult circumstances. So, I love the topic for the day.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, awesome. Well, we're going to go into the AFC North preview. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Cleveland Browns. Let's see. The head coach is Todd Monken,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like so 3 out of the 4 coaches in the AFC North are new coaches. Can you tell me a little bit about Monken and what you're looking for from him?
It's interesting. I think as initially most Cleveland Browns fans were pretty not happy with the hire, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think they really wanted kind of the up and comer, the young, offensive minded, brilliant coach. They're looking for the next, McVay, one of these mad scientists, genius offensive minds. And I think people were pretty shocked that Todd got the job. He was the offensive coordinator for the Ravens last year. And most of my friends who are Ravens fans didn't dislike him, but they didn't think he was like, McVay or, some offensive genius. He was a pretty solid coordinator. But I think for the most part, Todd Monken has endeared himself to a lot of Browns fans, and most of my delusional Browns fans, friends, they really think he'll do a solid job.
Absolutely. Yeah. But no, I appreciate that. I think, it's interesting though. He's inheriting a quarterback controversy. It looks like it could be Deshaun Watson. It looks like it could be Shedeur Sanders. How do you see the quarterback situation, situating there?
To be honest, I think it's the worst quarterback room in the NFL. I think most Browns fans feel that way. Unless you're a diehard Shedeur fan. If you're a diehard Shedeur fan, obviously you didn't see him play last year. I forget what his rating was. It wasn't good. It was the very bottom of the league. Now, he didn't have any receivers. He didn't have an offensive line. But I just think there's not exceptional talent there. He missed a lot of easy throws, and even when he didn't get protection. But I think most Browns fans want Shedeur to start. They really want him to have the opportunity. Now, Monken is a first-year head coach, and he doesn't want to lose 16 games. He doesn't want to go 0-17. And so I think his mindset is, I'm going to put someone on the field that I think is going to actually win some football games. But I think if Browns had their way, we would ride or die with Shedeur, just because he's young. And if it's even close, why not see the young guy? The young guy could get better. So I think most Browns fans want Shedeur, but for most of us, we have 2 first-round draft picks next year. I think most of us think that the future of the quarterback room is in the 2027 draft.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fair. And what about the defensive side? It looks to be a little bit stronger there and not have as much uncertainty as the offensive side.
The defense has always been strong. Now, we did trade Myles Garrett. We got Jared Verse back. But you're talking about a defense that gave up the 4th fewest points in the league last year. Only gave up 22 points a game, only 167 passing yards a game last year, 3rd in the NFL. And so that defense was elite. I mean, that was a playoff, contending defense. But they'll bring back pretty much 11 or actually 9 of their 11 starters. They're going to replace Myles Garrett with Jared Verse that they got from the Rams, who's a 3rd-year player, 7.5 sacks. I mean, he's a Pro Bowl type player. They'll bring back Malik Collins on the line. He's kind of an underrated defender, 6.5 sacks in only 12 games. He was hurt for about a third of the season. Mason Graham, who was their first-round draft pick last year, is really solid. Carson Schlesinger, defensive rookie of the year, 156 tackles as a rookie, 2.5 sacks, 2 interceptions, 3 batted balls. I mean, he won defensive rookie of the year by a landslide. Nice. And the rookie wore the green dot, which means he called all the plays on the defense for that rookie. So you got Tyson Campbell and Denzel Ward, both Pro Bowl caliber corners, and then 2 safeties that played really well last year, and Ronnie Hickman and Grant Delpit. And both of those guys, great tacklers. I think Ronnie Hickman last year shocked people. I think his pass against rating was in the low 60s, and the average is like 85 or something in the league. So, and then they actually drafted a kid in the 2nd round that's going to be the future of that safety room. That Warren kid, I forget his name off the top of my head, but most people thought he'd go in the late 1st round. He got picked up by the Browns in the 2nd round. So the defense is going to be what keeps them in games next year. Because we have no quarterback. I would say we have the worst quarterback room in the league. in all of our weapons on offense, Quinshon Judkins, Harold Fannin Jr., and then they did pick up two receivers, Casey Concepcion, which is a lot like the Flowers kid for the Ravens, and Denzel Boston. Now, they say Denzel Boston is balled out in training camp. They said he looked like the best rookie in training camp this year.
Nice. Yeah.
And they got Fano as their starting left tackle. So they got some young talent, but they're all really young. First time head coach, brand new offensive system. So I think it's going to be rough on offense. It's going to be ugly at times. Maybe hopefully with flashes of some happy times, but the defense is definitely going to be the strength of this team.
Nice. Well, let's do a quick wrap around the league then, or the division, and then we'll go back to win totals. We'll start with the Baltimore Ravens. Jesse Minter is the new head coach, and the ageless Lamar Jackson is their quarterback. How do you see the Ravens this year?
I think the Ravens are going to be tough. I mean, I just think the Ravens had a lot of injuries, but I really think it's still their division to lose in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see how the new head coach affects that, because I think if you had talked to an AFC North fan at the start of last year, they would have said all the coaches are safe because Stefanski had been two-time coach of the year, except for the Bengals coach. He's for sure going to get fired. And at the end of the year, he's the only one that didn't lose his job. So you can go figure.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you just got to think with Lamar Jackson and then with Derrick Henry. I mean, it's like they got to get there has to be a wall at some point where they get old. We'll see if this is the year, but yeah, they look like the class of the division, at least according to the prognostications there. Let's go to the Cincinnati Bengals. Head coach Zach Taylor, starting quarterback Joe Burrow. Like you said, Taylor's the only one returning. How do you see the Bengals this year?
I mean, I think you always feel this way, but I think it's all about if Burrow is healthy. I mean, that's really the deciding factor. If Burrow is healthy, they can go pretty far because, I mean, you have Jamar Chase and Burrow, and so that offense is going to be good. They got Dexter Lawrence. They've got a couple of guys on the defense now that are legit defenders, and so they should be. They won't be top 10 defensively, but they'll be middle of the pack defensively. And anytime you got an elite quarterback, I think you have a chance to compete.
Absolutely. And finally, we have Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. Really? He's coming back? Okay, so the Pittsburgh Steelers. Interesting. How do you look at them?
It's so hard to say because the Steelers have been such a well-managed organization for so long. You almost feel like that no matter what they do, it's going to find a way to work out. But I think I would say that the reign of the Steelers in this division is maybe done. Like
right.
This age is I think Mike McCarthy. I think not having a clear answer at quarterback for the future. I mean, I think if Drew Aller and Will Howard are your long-term answers at quarterback, you're going to be in trouble. Both of those guys have potential, but like they're not elite, young talent like some of these other guys.
Awesome. Yeah. We'll see what happens. It's an interesting division and there's a lot of new stuff going on. We are going to go through each team again and real quick, just go through the win totals, according to Hard Rock. Now, these are win totals for entertainment purposes only for the audience out there. Okay. Don't go off and we are not experts. Don't go off and spend all your money on these win totals. But just for conversation's sake, we'll start with the Cleveland Browns. They actually have the lowest win total in the division. It's 6.5. Do you see that as over or under?
Oh, I'm going to go under.
Okay. All right. And the Ravens, where you have 10.5.
I'm going to go over.
Over. Okay. And I always have to remember, too, with these win totals, it's a 17-game schedule now. So a little bit easier to get a win or two. The Cincinnati Bengals are at 9.5.
I'm going to go over.
Over. Okay. And finally, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 8.5.
I'm going to go under.
Under. Yep. Nice. Okay. All right. We'll see how it goes. That's a good lineup there. And it's funny. Talking to my one of my co-hosts planning out the episodes, but I mentioned like, oh yeah, we have a Cleveland Browns fan, and they were like, oh man, they're like, what's their win total? It was like a 6.5, and you're actually not the person with the least wins total so far. I actually interviewed a Raiders fan. And so my co-host Martin from Denver, I think you know them, but yeah, he's a Raiders fan, and 5.5 was their win total. So you're not the least, at least amongst the higher call co-hosts here during this division previews. All right. So I'm not trying to press you, but we are going to go through the schedule and see where we can get some wins here for our Cleveland Browns. Okay, so we're going to be positive here, and that doesn't sound like you're a homer, so I appreciate that. I did have someone say that their mid NFC team was going to win the NFC the other day. I was like, I don't think that's true, but anyway. So let's go to week 1. At the Jacksonville Jaguars. You look at that as a win or a loss?
We're going to go loss.
All right. And we're going to stay in Florida for week 2. You're at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I feel like Baker's feeling dangerous. It's a loss.
All right. And then you come home to play the Carolina Panthers.
And we're going to go win.
All right. And you have your Thursday night football game on Prime Video, week 4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Cleveland.
I'm going to go win.
Yeah, good chance there. And then, okay, so this schedule isn't that bad. Then you go to the New York Jets for week 5.
We're going to go win. This is the 4th easiest schedule based on last year's win-loss record.
Nice. And then staying in Cleveland, going back to Cleveland, you are playing the Baltimore Ravens.
Loss.
All right. And then you go to Nashville to play the Tennessee Titans.
Win.
Okay. And then you go to Pittsburgh to play the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Loss.
Yeah. And then you go to the Superdome to play the New Orleans Saints.
Loss.
Okay. And back to Cleveland to play the Houston Texans.
Loss.
All right. Bye week. And playing the Las Vegas Raiders, week 12.
I'm gonna go win.
All right. You do differ with Martin on that one. And then week 6, the Cincinnati Bengals in Cleveland.
Loss.
All right. And the Atlanta Falcons in Cleveland.
I want so badly as a homer to say a win because it's Stefanski, but I'm going to go loss.
Why is everyone saying they're going to lose to the Falcons this
year? I wanted to win so badly. I just don't know who's going to be playing quarterback at that point.
Is there something about the Falcons I don't know about? I mean, I know they were decent. Like that whole
but
division.
You just got to hand the ball to Bijan.
Yeah, that's
right.
True.
Like you got a good offensive line, you just hand the ball off.
Yeah, he's really good, and I mean, if they, I don't know.
I mean, he'll be the best player on. He'll be the best offensive player on either team.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. He's good, and he's a good fantasy pickup too. Do you play fantasy football?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in 3 leagues now. I really never wanted to be that many, but good friends keep saying, "Hey, I'm a commissioner," and I'm like, okay. But yeah, he's a really good fantasy player. All right, December 20th, week 15, at the New York Giants.
Loss.
All right. And week 16, at the Baltimore Ravens.
Loss.
Okay. Back to Cleveland. January 3rd to play the Indianapolis Colts.
We're going to go win.
All right. And finally, week 18, playing the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati.
We're going to go loss.
All right. Let me see where I can find you some wins here. I think you can beat the Giants, and I think you can beat the Falcons. That might
Well,
be about it.
yeah, I mean, I think their ceiling is 8 wins. So I think they can beat Carolina, Jets, Tennessee. They potentially could beat Atlanta and the Giants. They could potentially beat New Orleans, but I think their floor is 4. Because if we have to go to Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, or if Deshaun Watson has played like when he has played for the Browns, it's been really not good. I mean, he's had 2 good games in 4 years.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
so
like
like,
Dylan Gabriel. Yeah,
yeah, so
when
like
he
it's
played at
gonna. If we get to Dylan Gabriel, this is gonna be a
yeah,
really rough year. Like, you
yeah.
know what
No,
I'm saying?
I just liked him at UFC, or UCF. Gosh, UFC, the fighting. No, UCF, the school.
No, he's a super
Yeah,
accurate quarterback,
yeah,
and Stefanski picked him. He
yeah,
picked him
yeah,
over. He picked him over Shador Sanders because
yeah.
he thought he
That's
could be a
funny.
system quarterback.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
And
All
so,
right.
but yeah,
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting year. Um, yeah, it's funny how you go at New York twice. You play the Jets and the Giants on the road.
yeah.
That's an interesting little conundrum too. All right, awesome. All right, well, we ask you this always too, Sonny. Who is your Super Bowl pick? AFC, NFC, and the Super Bowl champ.
Oh, that's rough. Okay, so I got to go Rams.
Yeah,
Um,
popular pick.
yeah, I mean, I just think with Miles Garrett, I just think, and that defense is just locked and loaded. God forbid if Aaron Donald does decide to come out of retirement. Holy
Yes, I've heard.
smokes,
Yep,
that is
that's exactly
crazy.
what Martin said.
And like that's just going to be unreal. And then I know this is going to be like a ridiculous pick because everybody's going to pick it, but I just feel like the Bills are due.
Me too. Me
I
too.
feel like they're
Yeah.
due. I mean, I just think Josh Allen's too good. I think they eventually the ball's got to kind of bounce their way at least
I
once.
know. I
And
know.
so I would say the Bills and the Rams are probably my pick. Just don't know if everybody remotely stays healthy in LA. I just don't know how you beat that team.
Yeah,
That
I agree.
defense,
Yeah.
that defense with Miles Garrett, even if Aaron Donald doesn't come back, Miles Garrett, I watched him as a Browns fan for the last 8 years, and I've watched him win football games like just by himself. I mean, it's kind of unreal.
Yeah, it's yeah, and back to Josh Allen though. I mean, I'm a Patriots fan, and I want Josh Allen to win a title. Like I just like him so much, and like how he plays, and I mean, there's a Houston Cougar on that team too, Ed Oliver on the defensive line, and so yeah, I do I wouldn't mind if Josh Allen got one year, and it just seems like every year he falls short. Let me ask you this too. I'm asking everyone this if we have time, and we do. The the Kansas City Chiefs, my least favorite team in the NFL. We've been on this feud. Like Taylor and Travis didn't invite me to their wedding, and so I guess this whole thing. But it's drama that I'm just trying to, as a Christian, just squash it. But anyway, but are they going to get old? Do you think they're going to have a good year, or can they be old and just kind of ride off into the sunset like the Golden State Warriors did?
I, I mean, every time you're old, right? It's just kind of like the same old thing. It's like, can you stay healthy? Because if you can stay healthy, anything's kind of possible, right? I mean, anytime you got an elite quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, anything is possible. But the key is they don't have anybody. They're not young. Even their
Yeah,
backups are old. So it's kind of like
yeah,
if your main guys don't stay healthy, you lose a Chris Jones, you lose a L'Jarius Sneed. I mean, your season's over. Like one or two of those guys, you're done. I mean, you don't have
yeah,
much margin for error. But yeah, I think the era is coming to a close.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, good, good. That's a good answer because I've had some co-hosts on these divisional previews that are just they don't even like the Chiefs, but they're like, no, they're still gonna be good, all that. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, Sonny, would love to hear kind of what you're up to. I know you got some businesses going on and things like that. So go ahead, tell the listeners what you're up to.
Yeah. the big things right now is life in ministry, but also kind of self-supporting in the ministries. I'm a little bit of a tent maker these days, and doing
Nice.
real
Wow.
estate in Kentucky, and so that's kind of my tent making gig as I do ministry and do things in my community. But yeah, so if anybody's looking for a realtor in Kentucky, happy to help in any way I can.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and I'll try to get a link from you, and we'll put it in the descriptions there. And be sure to check out Sonny if you're one of our Kentucky listeners. I know you're out there. Shout out to the Bluegrass State.
Yes,
And
sir.
so, but yeah, Sonny, I did want to say this too. I know you were a team leader and a team worker back in the days when I was a teenager in our church, and it's just such, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but it's just having that want to be in your mid 20s or upper 20s and be kind of the cool guy in the church, and you could be doing anything you want. You could be going out and hanging out with friends and all that, and instead, like, you choose time to invest in the youth. And when you're a teenager, someone doing that is like times 10 compared to your normal life, because those are our formative years. And so you were an awesome one, and I've had other ones in my life too, and now my kids and your kids are experiencing this. But just big thank you to everyone out there who chooses to be a teen leader, chooses to be a teen worker, chooses to serve in the youth and family ministry. It's such a vital area, such a vital need. I know you've given a lot of your life to that, and hopefully I'm one example that's doing you proud there, Sonny. So just thank you so much for that, and I definitely think you and those that do it are worthy of honor.
Absolutely. Well, shout out to all those teen youth ministers out there, teen workers, mentors. It is definitely awesome, and you're definitely one of many that have that gives me hope for the new generations. And and I still find my way into the teens. I always joke in Lexington we take an amusement park trip every summer, and I take all the teens in our church to Kings Island, and I always
Oh
tease
yeah.
them. They humor the 50-year-old dude because they're like, Mr. Sonny's like, hey, let's get on the biggest roller coaster. Let's go on the front row. And they're like, yes, Mr. Sonny. And so they just all rolling with me coaster to coaster. This year we were able to pull out 12 coasters in 5.5 hours at Kings Island.
That's awesome. Yeah, shout out to Kings Island. That's the dreamland for every Kentucky kid, to cross the border and go to Kings Island.
Yeah. And if you're from Cleveland, it's Cedar Point because
Oh yeah, Cedar Point.
that's
Yep.
the coaster mecca if you want to
Yeah,
ride coasters for sure.
absolutely, absolutely.
So,
Well, Sonny, thanks a lot again. It's been
yeah,
great.
thanks for having me on, and go Browns.
Awesome. As we wrap up today, remember this: whether you're playing, coaching, cheering, or even officiating, every person on that field is made in the image of God. Yes, even the referees, even the bad ones. The Christian Leitner game would be an example of bad referees, but they were made in the image of God, so that's okay. Thanks again to our sponsors, All Too Traveled on TikTok and Father Figure Framework with Bill Ellis, for supporting the Higher Call. If you enjoyed today's conversation, we'd really appreciate it if you'd like, subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with another sports fan. And we'd love to hear from you. Email us anytime at highercallpod@gmail.com with your questions, topic ideas, hot takes, if you'd like to be a co-host, or just to connect with other like-minded sports fans. Until next time, keep your eyes on the game, keep your heart on God, and thanks for listening to the Higher Call.